Toucan Play That Game is proudly sponsored by NiceGameShop.com, the place to go for rare and unusual Asian games. Hi, I'm Michael. Take a seat and I'll tell you about Ethnos by CMON, a game of area control and set collection. It's quite simple and easy to play. On your turn, you have two options. Either pick up a card or play a set. When picking up a card, you can either pick one of the face-up cards from the market, which do not get replaced, or draw one blind off the top of the deck. Then, with the playing of a set, you either have a set of the same colour card or of the same race. And the cards are made up of all these different races, but you only use 5 or 6 depending on the number of players in a game. The other thing you decide with your set is who your leader is going to be. The leader is the card on top. Whatever card your leader is, its race dictates what power it gives you, and all the cards state on them what their leader powers are. And the colour of the card dictates which region you can place one of your tokens in. You can only place a token though if the set is larger than the number of tokens you already have in the region with 4 or more players, or if playing with fewer players, then you have to have a larger set than the total number of tokens already there. No matter how big your set, you still only place the one token. Then any cards left in your hand that were not part of your set are discarded to the market face up so that other people can then draw them. The game carries on like this with you playing sets until these dragons come out. When the first one comes out, you don't worry too much. When the second one comes out, you know the age is nearly over. When the third one comes out, the age immediately ends. And then you score up. Each of the regions, whoever has the most tokens in it will get the most points, and then so on, as normal area control would work. But you also then get points for the sets that you've created during the age. The larger the set, the more points that you get. So sometimes it's worth just creating large sets in order to get points that way, rather than getting the points from controlling the board. The game is made up of 2 or 3 ages, again depending on the number of players, and the second age and third age play out much the same way, except for there are more points up for grabs on the board. Once you've finished all the ages, you then see who has the highest score, and whoever does is the winner. So what do I think of this game? Well, first let's start with the fact that this is a very light game. It is a game that anyone really can play. However, there are a few barriers to entry with this. Firstly, the artwork. This board, primarily, is just so drab and boring, and all this fantasy art on the cards, although quite nice, is again very drab. The fact that all the giants are exactly the same is good for being able to tell your set collection, but it means a lot of the cards you're not seeing much in the way of variation or interest with regards to the art. The only difference is the different races. And yeah, so artistically not the best game. However, it does pull back slightly with regards to the component quality. The cards are a nice quality. All the cardboard components though are really good high quality, and the tokens are just these lovable stackable tokens that are just so tactile and lovely to play with. So component wise I can't really fault it. So what's the other barrier to entry then? Well, it's the fact that all the different races have a different power. I like that as a gamer, but for someone who's not very experienced with gaming, that's a lot of new information to take in, especially if you're coming to this without someone teaching you it. So you kind of have to learn all the different races' powers ahead of time, and that can be quite difficult. Whereas if you're coming to this and someone's teaching you, you've still got to learn 5 or 6 of those powers and keep in mind, right, okay, this one does this one does that one. Yes, the fact that it's written on the cards does help a lot, but it can be a barrier to entry in what is otherwise an incredibly simple gateway game. The kind of method of taking cards from the market is very reminiscent of Ticket to Ride. The playing of sets is very reminiscent to Ticket Ride, and that is a classic gateway game. So this definitely does fall into that gateway category. But how does it then play for more experienced gamers? Well, this is where luck kind of becomes part of the factor. You see, the fact that this is quite a luck heavy game means that inexperienced players can do very well, and it also means that it can be quite frustrating for experienced players who know, right, I need to do this, I need to get this set, I need to do this. But most of the time, the market you're drawing from is empty because everyone's there going, drawing cards, drawing cards, drawing cards, and then you're drawing off the deck. And you're just drawing blindly, not what I need, not what I need, not what I need, while someone new to the game, or even, just any other player, is sat there going, aha, another one for my set, aha, another one, another one, another one. Yeah, it doesn't make it a bad game. I think this is a fantastic gateway game and really enjoyable. It just means that it is a very luck-heavy game. If you go into this expecting a deep strategic game of area control where your decision making is what is most important, you're going to be disappointed. The biggest decision aspect in this game is just how much you push your luck trying to get what you actually want, or if you're just being lucky. Because when you then play a set, you're giving information to other people, you're putting more face-up cards there, meaning they are less reliant on the luck. So yeah, that is kind of a big part of my thoughts. With regards to replay value, I think it's very good. That luck aspect is what gives it a fantastic amount of replay value. Even if you're playing with the same cards, it's not going to play out the same way because you won't get the same sets that you did previously. But also what's good from a replay value is that thing that I was talking about before with the different races having different powers. Yes, this can be a barrier to entry as a gateway game for some people, but it does make the game incredibly more interesting for more experienced gamers and means that it has so much more life because there's so many different races and you're using only, a handful of them each game. And the way those different races work together and interact can make the game play very differently. For example, if you're playing a game with both the skeletons and halflings, there's twice as many cards, so it's easier to get sets of halflings. Skeletons count as wild, so they can be used in any set. You can create sets really easily. So it means that getting out on the board can be much easier, except for halflings can't let you get out on the board. So it creates an interesting element that way. There are some that add, like the merfolk, a new way to do score to get extra points, as do the orcs, which then creates extra elements of the game, which are really nice, but it's adding extra complications for new players. So it's a game that works very well as a gateway game, but also works well for experienced gamers as long as you're not expecting a highly strategic game. So I think that just about covers everything except for one thing. Can two play that game? Yes, two can play that game. They've actually done quite a good job with the scaling of this game in that with more players, you only have to worry about your tokens, and that's good because otherwise, you've got all these tokens here, and at lower players, you've got to beat both the players' tokens, which means you get this kind of growing, I need to get bigger sets, and it becomes, oh, I really need those orange cards, etc. So it does scale very well, and I think most area control games tend to fall quite flat with two players. And I think this actually holds its own fairly well with two players. It does have, again, that luck element, and it actually feels worse with two players, the luck element, because it's very much, oh, you're getting the cards I need, I'm not. Therefore, you're not only getting bigger sets, you're also getting better position on the board. Whereas it kind of balances out a bit better at higher numbers. That's why I think really this game is best with 4 or more. But I do think that it plays very well with 2 or more. As I say, the changes they've made of making it shorter, fewer rounds, I think actually makes sense. The fact that you use fewer cards, again, makes sense. And they've easily done that by just saying that you use one less fantasy race. So they've made changes that do make the game work and make it work well. However, it is at its best with more. Okay, that is Ethnos by CMON. I do hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you have, please do check out the rest of the videos on the channel, as well as subscribing and sharing. And as always, thanks for watching, and bye for now.